Welcome to the Airgun Exploration and Advancement channel. Today, we hit rewind and revisit an industry gem. There are those who would adamantly contend that this tenured rifle runs neck and neck with new entries costing more than twice as much. Love it or leave it alone, BSA's R-10 MK2 is here to stay. Join me as we unveil its kryptonite and dig into the magic of its staying power.
Okay guys, we're going to review 4 pellets through the R-10's cold hammer forged barrel. JSB's 18, 16, 14, and 13. Not the greatest of conditions today to be shooting an air gun. Winds are out of the north at 14 miles an hour. They're oscillating between my 11 and 2 o'clock. But that's what air gunning is all about. It's not a simple task to take a 15 grain pellet and put them on top of each other at 50 yards and win like this. But we're going to do our best and see if the BSA's platform can deliver. Okay, 5 shots with JSB's 18. I'm gonna say not a fan. There's probably a pellet among these 4 that this barrel likes more. Looks to be about an 1.5 inch group at 50. Let's move on and see if we can tighten things up. One got a hold of that one. .16 grain JSBs, looks like about another 1.25 inch group. Wind really got a hold of that shot number 2 and pushed it off to the right. But I'd say that's a little bit of an improvement over the 18s. Let's keep moving and see if we can find even a better one yet. Got a hold of that one. A little hole-in-one action there. Wow, that's a shame. I think there might be something to that JSB 14 grain Express. 3 of the pellets pretty much went through the same hole, and the wind really got a hold of the other 2. We're gonna have to take a harder look at that when we get done here. So on to the RS, 13 grain, see what happens. This one ain't pretty. Okay, so there you have it. 4 JSB pellets through the R-10's barrel, 50 yards into a 14 mile an hour headwind. Looks like our 2 best performing pellets. Gosh, well, being the conditions are what they are, I really think we should retry 3 pellets, the 18 grain, 16 grain, and the 15 grain, and throw the 13 grain right out the window. Those were all over the place. I don't know if it's because of the wind, but those 13 grain opened up to about 2.5 inches over 50. Everybody else is right in there at pretty much 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Even in these conditions, man, I'll take it. But let's tear the target down, put up a fresh one, work a little bit harder to shoot between the puffs of wind and see if we can tighten things up even more. The BSA's magazine holds 10 pellets. It's been a topic of debate for some time now. There was a run where these magazines weren't the greatest. God bless it, neither are some of these pellets. And it really kind of freaked people out and shied them away from this platform. But I've had mine now for about 2 years, and my magazine's been flawless. I have never had the first issue with it at all. Holy moly, that wind just picked up. But anyway, what I'm doing is we're going to rehash out this 14 and 16 grain pellet at 50 yards. We're going to load this magazine all the way up to 10, take 10 shots of each, and we'll call it at 50 based on what we see here. And I'm going to do my darndest to shoot in between puffs of wind, because right now these conditions are really bad. Now that is what I would expect from this platform. 9 out of those 10 shots, I'm going to call that a sub-half-inch group at 50 yards. That wind has wreaked havoc on me today, and I got like a 2-minute window there where it just died down, and so I ripped off 10 shots as quick as I could. And like I said, 9 out of 10 pretty much went through the same hole down range there, and that's with the JSB 16 grain. Very, very pleased with that. Let's reload, try the Express, and see if we can get another break here with the weather. $11 just for good merit. All right, let's go get the target. I'm going to bring it back. We're going to have a hard look at it and talk about it. Okay, let's review. 50 yards, JSB 16 grain, JSB 14 grain. Worked a little bit harder, was a little bit more patient to shoot between the puffs of wind. It's like we talked about earlier. That makes all the difference in the world when you're trying to fly a 15 grain projectile. So JSB 16 grain. Off camera, I put the ruler on it real quick. 5/8 of an inch, 9 out of 10 shots. I'm going to throw this one out on account of a bad pellet. It's air guns, it happens. If I throw out that 8th shot over here, that's 8 shots, sub-half-inch groups, 50 yards from the BSA R-10. Very pleased with that, considering it is windy. Yes, we were working to shoot between the puffs of wind, but the wind was still there nonetheless. JSB 14 grain, the Express. Put the ruler on it. It's about 1.25 inches if you count this flyer. Take out the flyer, and we're about 3/4 of an inch at 50 yards. 9 pellets, not bad. So I'm saying throw out the 18 grain, throw out the 13 grain. This barrel, my barrel, didn't like it. Yours might, so maybe try it. But going forward, I'm going to call the 16 grain and the 14 grain the preferred pellets for the R-10's cold hammer forged barrel. Got a little treat in store for us now. You guys have been asking for it on the forums, you've been asking for it in your comments on YouTube, and I'm going to give it to you. I've got a block of ballistic gelatin that I've calibrated perfectly. I'm going to go get it out of the fridge. I'm going to set it down range at 50 yards. I am comfortable hitting it with both of these pellets, and we'll go measure the penetration. Be right back. JSB 16 and JSB 14 in that order. Let's hit it, see what happens. Interesting sound, I'll give it that. Let's go check it out. Okay, let's reflect for a minute. 4-pound block of calibrated ballistic gel, 10 inches long. Set out to 50 yards, our JSB 15 and 16 grain pellet had no problem passing all the way through the gel. The interesting sound that I had made reference to, that I thought was the pellets impacting the gel, were the pellets actually traveling through the gel and impacting the swamp in the background. So I'm going to go with 50 yards, plenty of power, plenty of penetration.
Before we check the trigger for weight, the moderator for sound, and move back to 100 yards, we had better top off the R-10's tank. There's nothing to it. Once you've inserted the R-10's proprietary fill probe into its fill port, charge. The 200 cubic centimeter aluminum tank fills to 232 bar, and the regulated action makes great use of it. On a single charge, R-10 owners will be rewarded with 40 shots, with an extreme spread of 22 feet per second and a standard deviation of just 4.75 feet per second. Muzzle energy comes in at a respectable 26.53 foot-pounds. As we saw, plenty of power to smoke a critter at 50 yards.
BSA markets the R-10's trigger as being 2-stage adjustable and match grade. I found the first stage to be totally smooth and to hit hard up against the second. The second stage broke without any hint of creep whatsoever. .1 ounces. Great job, BSA. So the shroud on the R-10 is not baffled. I've pulled it off, I know. There's basically a rubber block right here, and there's a rubber block up there towards the muzzle, completely sealing around the barrel inside of the shroud. I don't know how the technology works, but whatever BSA is doing, it is very effective. This gun is incredibly quiet. It is right there with my Cricket 2.2 as far as noise, and it's right there with my Daystate Huntsman XL 2.2. And what it boils down to is that it is very quiet and without a doubt backyard friendly. Now, per everyone's request, I've set the sound meter out to 10 feet in front of the gun, aligned perfectly with the barrel. So let's see how it registers. 83.9 decibels, ridiculously quiet. I love this thing.
Futile, you say, to fly a 16 grain pellet 100 yards in these conditions? I'm your Huckleberry. The R-10's inspired so much confidence today, I think we can pull it off. That nagging wind isn't giving up, but neither is our MK2. Kill shots 8 for 10. This R-10's making me look good. Perforating paper critters at 100 yards is one thing. But can the R-10 deliver any energy at 100?
We did it at 50 yards. We did it again at 100 yards. JSB 15.89 grain pellets sailed through 10 inches of ballistic gel. Not once, but 4 times. What does that mean to us? That there is no worries about penetration with this gun. Energy aside, velocity aside, again, this is calibrated stuff, and these pellets are having a non-issue getting through it. So there is no game, large or small, that I would consider safe inside of 100 yards with this gun. It's grouping basically at 2 inches in the wind repeatably. So I just don't see where you can go wrong. Walnut Stock by Manelli, comfortable as heck, regulated, gets over 40 shots per fill in 2.2. The barrel is cold hammer forged steel, and the triggers match great at breaking at less than a pound. This thing is a total rock star in my book, and I am very excited to be able to pass these results on to you guys. Good stuff.
The R-10 weighs in at an even 10 pounds with scope, mounts, and a full charge. All its components operate with extreme precision. The rosewood accents and clean checkering are handsome to say the least. Founded June 1861, the Birmingham Small Arms Company has gifted us 150 years of its best in this industry treasure. Manelli stock, match grade trigger, precision, longevity, power, it's all here. If you like what you saw here and want to encourage us to make more videos like it, please be sure to subscribe to our channel.